So I tried to recreate the Jeopardy theme song, which you might recognize there. It's a very loose interpretation of that. Um, Jeopardy is an American game show, and you may not be familiar with the game show. I'm not really, but you'll definitely know the music. So do a quick Google search. I don't want to play it here because I don't think I'll be able to, but do a quick Google search of the theme song, and you'll definitely know it. But this is my rendition of it. Wait. We need to depower this, of course. And this has been on repeat for like 30 minutes to an hour or so when I was putting this together. And it's so catchy, it's stuck in my head now. And it's going to be stuck in your guys' head as well. It's going to be stuck in your head all day long. Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft. So this theme song is meant to be playing when our system here, our sorting system, is going through items and putting them into their correct shulker boxes, or overflow, or the mass storage, or the other storage room which is yet to be built. But essentially when this is running, we want our theme song to be on, and that's going to let us know that we shouldn't unload the area, we shouldn't unload these chunks while the redstone is on. It's built right underneath here, and it's not the most ideal setup here. It's a little bit messy and spaghetti, but I'm not so familiar with the note blocks. This is like probably the most complex thing I've put together with note blocks in this game. So yeah, we want this to turn on when our system is sorting items. I'm not sure what the best way to do that is, to be honest. It kind of snakes around this corner and then loops around on itself, and this is like the end point, and then there's also another end point here which restarts it. Essentially what I'm trying to say here is, as long as this block is in the way, it will carry the signal from the end and restart the loop, the theme song. So I think what we can do here is have some sort of sticky piston right here, and I'm stuck. If we do a sticky piston right there to move this iron block into place, well, I guess that also works because there's hoppers above here. Yeah, whenever this is not powered, it will carry the signal and keep this on repeat. And then whenever it is powered, it will block the signal from being passed through back to the start point. So then we need a way. So we want to keep this piston unpowered when the system is sorting items, and we also need to give this a 1-tick pulse, or like a short pulse, into one of these redstone dust to start the jingle, right? Oh, this is chaos. This is absolute chaos. Make it stop. Make it stop. Alright guys, I think we've got it this time. I moved some stuff around. Our piston, our new piston, which used to be on this block space on top, is now in a horizontal orientation. And I have this connected to our pulse extender, which is on whenever there's items in the bottom droppers. So whenever there's items being sorted, our clock turns on. We grab a signal via this comparator into this block, into this repeater, into this block, which powers this piston, keeps it extended, and keeps our loop going. Now, we also need a 1-tick pulse for this, right? So back here, I've implemented what's known as a monostable circuit. And a monostable circuit is just a way to convert a sustained redstone signal into a 1-tick pulse. So it's just a sticky piston and then 2 repeaters. This is our input signal, and this is our... well, it will be a 1-tick pulse. And this now goes to our pulse extender. Or, wait a second. It doesn't, but it does now. It goes to our pulse extender, and it also goes to the start of our note blocks. So we give a 1-tick pulse to the start of the note blocks, and that carries the signal around. And then by that point, the pulse extender has been activated because we pulse this dropper, which is the point in which the items start to flow between the two hoppers and give us our sustained output pulse. And then that will activate this piston, pushing it in the way, and we should get a repeating jingle. And this input line to the monostable is just grabbed from our input chest. So we have our safety mechanism on the sorting system, if you'll remember from the last episode. Our sorting system will not start until we give it our manual input here from the button. And that's just in case we accidentally throw in a tool here. I don't want it to be sorted through the whole system and have to wait for it in the overflow chest. So I had some mangrove propagules that I was tossing around here. Let's grab 16 of those and toss them in the input. Hit the button and we should hear the jingle turn on and then turn off again when the system stops sorting items. So fingers crossed here. That's a good start. Our clock turns on. The dropper tower is going. Oh my goodness, it's working. And our items should show up here. Yes. Oh, you guys don't know the level of satisfaction I'm feeling right now. Oh, it all works. It all works. It should turn itself off as well. I think everything has been sorted now, so any second now we should see this piston on power and cut the line here. And it should turn itself off. I'm really hoping it does. Come on. It didn't turn itself off, but only because we're missing a repeater right here. So what was happening was whenever the jingle got to the end and it was being passed through the stone block to restart the theme, it was also back powering this piece of redstone, which also restarted the pulse extender because we would repulse the dropper to restart it, and it would have to restart to fill all the items between the hopper. So I think this repeater should prevent that and should prevent it from pulsing our extender. It only pulses when on the first input, so when the items first enter the system, and then it stays on for as long as the pulse extender stays on, which activates it on its own whenever there's items in the bottom dropper. This is already stuck in my head. It's already. Okay, any second now. Yes! The piston. Yes! Yes! That's exactly what we want. Oh, that's perfect. It works flawlessly. Oh, Mr. Fold is a happy triangle right now. So what I want to do is set up some nether connections finally. I want to get on the bedrock ceiling, or the nether ceiling. And it's been a while since I've done this, so I don't remember exactly how to do it. I put together a little care package, which should be everything we need. So earlier on, I kind of scoped out this spot here, which I think is going to be sufficient. I don't know yet as to the plans for the nether hub. I want to have some big nether infrastructure here, and we're going to have farms in this dimension as well. But at least at the moment, I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm not really sure how the nether is going to shape up. So I've just chosen to come here to 0, 0, or approximately 0, 0. You can see there in the coordinates at the bottom. So I think we can get on the nether roof with an ender pearl. We have everything, right? Pistons. Oh, we don't have TNT. We need TNT. Wait, unless there's some in the redstone box? No, there's not. And I would like to have a flint and steel if possible as well. Do we have one in our... We have one in our ender chest at least. So we're not stranded. I have some obsidian to make a portal. But without TNT, we can't break the bedrock. And I want to break some bedrock so we don't have to use the ender pearl every single time. I appear to have lost the TNT that I crafted earlier, and we are also out of sand, which is one of the reasons I want a connection to the desert. And also we need a sorting system so we don't lose items, right? That would be quite nice. No, that being said though, we should have gunpowder, right? I'm pretty sure we have a lot of gunpowder here still. Uh-oh. No, no, no. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I was going to say, no way we've ran through all the gunpowder. I have crafted many more stacks of rockets, but no way we'd used all of it. And we should ideally be at the top of the bedrock ceiling, or like one block below. Are we at the top? No. No, we're down at 124 down here, and the top level of bedrock is 128, so we need to find something that's a bit taller. Like that up there is one block higher. We need to be a little bit higher, and it's random generation, obviously, the bedrock generation, so we're not necessarily going to get the bedrock or the coordinates that we want to start off with, but once we're up there we can break any bedrock and we should be able to make it work. Is that what we want? This is 126. Yeah, that should be the top layer of bedrock right there. So let's add our ladders again. Mark the coordinates, so we're at minus 2.6 and 4.4. Not that the decimal places actually matter, it just matters that we're in the same block space. because this is the bedrock we're going to break to start off with. So I think we just need to look up here, aim the pearl, and we're above the nether ceiling. So what we do here is have piston, obsidian, obsidian, TNT, TNT, and then lever here and trapdoor here. And we want to grab pistons in our hand. What we're trying to do here is activate the TNT, and then we want to crawl and mash right click here, and it should replace the piston and break the bedrock underneath. So let's just give it a go here. So we activate, wait, stand here, activate the lever, and spam right click. It should have worked. It didn't work. Okay, let's try that again. Second time didn't work. Okay, that's a little bit worrying. Let's try again. I did bring more levers with me, right? So we get more than 7 attempts, because it does consume the lever. Yeah, we got plenty of levers here. That was a little different. It still didn't work though. Okay. So we want to look up here, right click. Still didn't work. Please. Yes, that time it worked. And we did break the right bedrock here, so now we have easy access to the nether ceiling. So now what we're going to do is, well, ideally we come through here and we break more bedrock, but I don't really feel like doing that right now. I think there's an easier way with like update suppression, which I'm not sure if it works in this version of Minecraft. We're still in 1.21.4, and I want to update soon to 1.21.5. I'm not sure if they changed update suppression. I have a feeling they did. So yeah, I'm not really sure what the best way to break a lot of bedrock is, but I know there's machines out there that do it. Again, I just don't know if they work on this version. But for now, for today anyway, I'm just going to build a portal here and try and link the different connections in the world. So now that we're on the nether roof, I took the time to connect the areas of the world that I visit most often. Until we have a nether hub and properly connect these stops with the appropriate methods of transport, a simple direction guide on the ceiling of the nether should make reaching the distant lands of our world much more streamlined. So we have portal connections to the swamp to access the slime farm, the stronghold for access to the end dimension, and the desert and mesa biomes currently used for sand and terracotta collection. So in the last episode, we were working on our botanical switchboard, or the greenhouse project. I still need a name for this, by the way, so if you have any more suggestions, I'm still trying to collect the ideas for names for this place, for this room. But yeah, we started to set up some farms here for various different flowers. We got the sunflower, the peony, the lilacs, and the rose bushes, along with the the pink petals and the sweet berries, I think they're called. However, I thought today we could keep working on this project. I have some ideas for the building. I still want to cover this and maybe add our dome roof on the ceiling, which I want to try and attempt this episode. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not, since we're so far away from the surface. I'm not sure how viable a dome roof is, at least a glass roof to the surface, but I want to at least attempt it, see if we can pull it off. Between episodes, I was also working on connecting the rest of the farms to the switchboard, at least the ones that are built so far. So we have 5 more redstone lines connected to our switchboard. One is taken from the last row of copper bulbs, so for the sweet berries. And this one here for the pink petals is also run up here. And these 2 new lines here just follow the same ones that we already had, around the 90-degree bend, and then to the 2 farms up here for pink petals and for sweet berries. And it works pretty much the same way as the other ones. We just activate the piston to start the observer clock. And then additionally, I've also run 3 more to the bottom level here. So next to our storage system, We have our glowberries, we have our pale hanging moss, and we have our hanging roots, which are now also connected back here. So we have 3 more lines here, which also feed some observer clocks, or pistons to activate observer clocks. And that plugs into the right-hand side of the control panel. Or yeah, just because of our configuration here, the bulbs are so close to each other. So it means there's a lot of redstone dust and we cannot cross the wires. Like, we can't have them interfere with each other, which is why it looks so complex, even though it's really not. It's just an alternating pattern. But yeah, these ones here are for the glowberries, for the hanging roots and pale hanging moss, which as you can see works, but we're out of bone meal. We still have to hook up the bone meal lines, but for right now, I want to focus on getting another farm in place, and that is going to be the nether fungi. So I want to do crimson fungus and the warped fungus, and I believe with these farms we also get the other nether plants as well. The crimson root, yeah, we get crimson roots from this, and we also get, I believe, these ones, the warped roots. So there's going to be 4 different items that we farm. So the way that these work is whenever you bone meal the crimson nylium or the warped nylium, it will spread and will give us the mushrooms and the warped roots from the red one. And this one, I believe, also gives us the warped roots, or the crimson roots. Yeah, I always get these backwards, by the way, the crimson and warped. I don't think you can get the blue ones from the red, though. At least I've never seen it. I'm pretty sure that's not possible, but you can get the red from the blue, which is a bit strange. So yeah, we need some way to bone meal warped and crimson nylium, and then also break the flowers and flush them into our storage system. So I'm not really sure what the generally accepted method to farm these plants is. Like, I've never built one of these farms before. We're going to do some sort of shift in floor design though. I know that much. But other than that, I don't really know how this is going to turn out. Actually, we're going to shift the floors the other way, because I want the outputs routed in this direction towards our storage system. Or maybe it's better this way, actually, because we have these droppers, or we have these hoppers, which feed into a dropper, and that feeds into our input for storage. So maybe it's better if we flush it this way, which means we'll have the pistons perpendicular to that. So pistons here and pistons here. And then we'll want a dispenser in the floor, I think, underneath. We should be able to dispense into the block here from underneath, and we should be able to farm both of them in the same sort of plane here. I think when the floor shifts, it's going to move this block where this shulker box is, and then we'll have the nylium next to it, so that'll be pushed underneath the dispenser. So it will sort of like take turns to bone meal one or the other. And then because we're farming both of them, I think it will spread to the grass blocks, so I'm pretty sure we can do this. And whatever is bone mealed, like this one, for example, will generate our warped fungus. It should be able to grow on the grass so long as you bone meal the warped fungus to begin with, which will happen because of the dispenser underneath. So we have our 2 sets of pistons here. We now need to activate these in sequence. So we want to do this one first to shift the floor. And then when it goes to this one, we want to unpower this one, power this one, and that will shift the floor, and it should break anything that's planted here. Oops. Let's also test our bone meal theory. Yes, it does grow in the grass. So yeah, when we shift the floor here, it should break these. Awesome. And then we're going to have some water to flush the items over this way, I think. So we can do maybe 3 dispensers here. Let's try and center it if possible. This is a 7x7. So one here, one in the middle, and one on the end. So we'll fill these with water buckets, and then we're not going to flush it right now because that's going to make a mess. Water and redstone do not mix. So yeah, now we need to make sure that this is also controlled by the switchboard. So when we hit the copper bulb button, I don't know which one it's going to be exactly, but when we hit the button, we want to start the pistons alternating. So this one, then this one, then this one on a timer. And then after some time, we want to flush the dispensers. And we need to give these 2 ticks, right? So when you pulse a dispenser with a water bucket inside, what is that? Oh, it's a glow squid. It's through the wall. I forget there's water back here. Yeah, it's a glow squid. When you pulse a dispenser with a water bucket inside, it will dispense the water. But then we need to give it a second pulse a couple of seconds after, we need to allow enough time for all the items to flush to the end there and off the platform. So we need to give it a secondary pulse to pick up the water again. But we only want to give those 2 pulses after some time to allow the bone meal to spread the fungus and the flora. And on top of all of that, we also have to give a redstone pulse consistently to this dispenser, which is going to be filled with bone meal, to generate us more flowers, right? So yeah, there's a couple of different things to figure out here. We also need to be able to feed this dispenser full of bone meal. So we need to allow enough space for that as well. I'm hoping we have enough space under here for the wiring. It looks like there is a lot of... Oh yeah, we got plenty of space. There is a ravine down here, but there should be lots and lots of space for wiring. Okay, and not too long later, we have some contraption in front of us. I'm not sure if it works. I just put in the water buckets in the dispenser. So I have it hooked up to that button there, but I broke this piece of redstone dust. So let's replace that real quick. And we'll do the very first test. I wanted to do this on camera, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. We might have a fail like we did at the storage system. The dispenser should have bone meal inside, so let's see if this works. It's again connected to this button. Okay, turn it on. Yes. This should flush. Please tell me it flushes. One of them flushed. One of the... Oh, I'm missing... I didn't fill all the dispensers. And we do get the flush after it turns off. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Water buckets. Any second. Excellent. And picks it up again. Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. How's this happen? It works. And the off switch works as well, right? Yes. And the water's collected. And we should get one more pulse here as well. I think. I'm pretty sure we're going to get one more pulse. Maybe not, though, since I switched it off right when it was activated. But yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, function-wise. We still have to do the input system, but that's really easy to do. We just have to send another water stream this way, and then I'll probably connect it to this water elevator, and that should get all the items in the sorting system. So I'll explain how all the redstone works here. There's a little bit to this. It ended up a little bit more bulky than I expected it to be, but it works, which is what's important. But yeah, for now, I'm going to keep on doing some building in this room. I want to develop this area further. And like I said, try to implement some sort of roof on this. And there's also this second level up here, which I intend to put more farms in. And then there's also a second entrance back here, which leads us through to the storage room in that direction. So yeah, I want to see if we can get this balcony sort of finalized. And then I'll make a start on the roof here as well. Well, I think I've finally come up with a name for this place, and it's going to be called Penrose Botanical Gardens. You know, Penrose after the Penrose in my logo, Mr. Fold. And Botanical Garden. I mean, it's not really much of a garden here. Well, kind of, but yeah, as you can see here, I made some more progress on the build. It wasn't without its challenges. There was a lot of trial and error, and some kinetic energy involved, but, you know, also, building up at height in survival is not so easy. It was so tedious to build this roof. So yeah, as you can see here, we got the dome roof in place, and it was all like glass at one point. It was all copper at one point. I had it all wood at one point, all concrete. I just went back to my favorite building blocks in the game. My favorite set in the game, I mentioned last episode, is the terracotta. It's everywhere here, and for good reason. Like even up there we have some terracotta. That, to be fair, is blue concrete or light blue concrete, but yeah, like all of this is green terracotta, and then yellow, and then I think that's actually light grey concrete, but then we've got lime, terracotta up here, and then some honey blocks in the ceiling. I also think it would be nice to have a spore blossom up there, just so we can get the particle effects that we have over at the bee farm, like those right there. It gives off nice particle effects. But yeah, over here we got another farm, which isn't finished just yet. We're going to need to get some sponges, and also, well, I guess we have the sea pickle, but this is for farming sea pickles. And it should be connected to the second button here. So that activates some pistons and the dispenser up there. But yeah, we need to add some sponges in the bottom so that the sea pickles can grow when they're bone mealed. I'll explain this later on. But yeah, I tidied up the Nylium farm here for the fungus, and we got the inputs routed over here, and it feeds into our water column and then into storage. Yeah, so running a couple of iterations of the farm, man, that is so loud. That is extremely loud. Yeah, running a few times on the farm here, you can see all the drops. Well, we will see all the drops here. There they are, making their way across the storage room. And they are not picked up by the items, by the item hoppers, because it's just way too many items at once. Let's turn this off again. It's just way too many items at once, so we're going to have to input limit it somehow. We should get another flush here, right? This time? Yes, perfect. Perfect. We're going to have to input limit it. I'm thinking about just putting it into a hopper down there and then dispensing it slowly. As for the redstone down here, though, we have, first of all, our input line. So this is connected to our copper bulbs. So we get a sustained on signal here. And then after some delay, we also have another monostable circuit implemented. So this is a way that we convert our sustained input into a 1-tick pulse. So we feed a 1-tick pulse into the first set of pistons. We just have a row of redstone up there, and that pushes the whole floor to the left, starting the farm. Then underneath, it's a little hard to see this, but we have an observer facing up, so the face is on the grass blocks. And when the Nylium switches position, that updates the observer, updates this observer, because this one's looking at this one, powers this block, and then powers the redstone, which also powers the dispenser. The dispenser is right behind this block of stone right here. So when this is powered, it powers the dispenser to give this bone meal. So every time the floor switches, it dispenses a bone meal. And we have the same thing on the other side. When this line powers, it also runs up here to our set of pistons. So that pushes it to the right. And then, yeah, because this observer detects the Nylium moving over top of this one, it powers this line, which then goes up to these pistons and pushes the floor to the left. This input line comes from our on signal. So when we hit the button, this is constantly powered. We get a consistent redstone pulse. This is before the monostable circuit. So that inverts the torch and turns this off. So because this redstone line is now off, we also lock one side of the pistons to prevent it from shifting the floors when the farm is off. That's why we lock this on, so that the pistons are always extended on this side. And then also when this line is powered, when the redstone torch is on, i.e. our button is off, it also starts an etho hopper clock. So a hopper clock just works by shuffling items into the hoppers. Whenever there is items in the, like for example, the left-hand side, we get a comparator signal, and that powers the piston. At least when it's on. Because we're hard powering this side, we're locking the piston extension on this side. So it keeps the redstone block here, and that will lock the item hopper, preventing the items from flowing to the next one. And then, yeah, when this one receives its items, we get a comparator signal here. Obviously, when this is off, and then that powers the piston, and it just repeats itself, right? And whenever this side is powered, we invert this torch. We send it to a pulse extender. So this is just a different way to get a pulse extender. It's a bit shorter than the dropper method that we have at our storage room. So I can maybe show you here. Let's disconnect this. So when you send a redstone signal into some comparators, the comparators will output the same signal strength as you give it, right? So when we input signal strength 15, we get signal strength 15 again to this one, and that outputs signal strength 15. And then because it goes to this one, it goes to signal strength 14, and then we get 14, 14, 13, 13, 13, 12, 12, 12, and it counts all the way down. So when we depower this, you can see down there in the bottom, yeah, you can see down here in the bottom right-hand side, the power level of the redstone dust. So when it's depowered, it goes from, yeah, 15 down to 0, and it just extends the length of a pulse. And we need to make sure we add some delay here, since if you pulse this type of pulse extender too quickly, then it doesn't have enough time to reach the end of the comparators here and loop it back around. But yeah, this just goes to our dispenser up here. And we have an observer into a repeater into a block, and that powers this redstone dust, powering the observers. And so the reason for the pulse extender here is so that we can get that double pulse in the dispensers to be able to collect the water buckets again, right? So to do that, we first observe when this redstone dust is powered via the observer. So that gives us the first pulse into the dispenser. But this observer will detect when this unpowers after a couple of seconds and then give us that second pulse. Because remember, the observer always gives you a pulse whenever the face has a block update in front of it. So when the repeater powers the first time, we get our first pulse, and when it depowers, we get our second pulse. And that's the way that we pick up the redstone dust. For now, this is our input line for bone meal. Like I said, we still have to input the bone meal lines to the rest of the farms. I still haven't done that yet. But this is turning into a massive project, especially with all the building. There is so much building to get done. But on the building front, I added, I don't know, I wanted to just keep it like kind of varied here. So we have some, I don't know what this is, like some sort of waterfall with some mossy stone brick just to keep it interesting. I have like little cubbies here. Wherever I can, when I'm doing walls, I really don't like to keep it flat, which is the reason for this little jut in here. I mean, you could easily just do a flat wall, but it just adds something else when there's those extra shadows there that you can see. It is still missing some foliage and stuff around the place and some extra detail. I tried some leaves there. I'm not sure if I like the leaves, honestly, on that level. But it needs something in these spots here. And then maybe where the brown terracotta is as well. And I tried to keep our copper roof in a sort of nice shape around here. So it kind of wraps around and gives us a nice border on everything. I'm not sure about this though. I think that's going to have to get removed because that isn't really looking right. And honestly, from our bridge here, it's not the best sightline. I would have liked to remove this pillar, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. It kind of messes with the shapes that we have on this side. So I'm not really sure. Also, one of you guys commented that it would be nice to have some sort of aquarium, which I'm considering for this spot, like up here. Maybe we have some like glass and then some water behind it and maybe some fish in there or axolotl. But I'm kind of all out of ideas right now on the building front. I didn't manage to get this entrance done. We're kind of running a bit low on resources and I'm a bit low on inspiration at this point. Like all of this, I don't really know what to do with this. So if you guys have any suggestions for this area, then let me know. Like right underneath here is our water stream for the storage system. So we're kind of limited on space. I was going to build it up, but then I don't know. I kind of want to keep this open so that when you're walking across here, you can see the control panel. Overall, though, I really like the colors that we have in here. I think the colors work very well. It's like a nature theme. And I'm really loving this block palette. Like the greens and the reds and the browns from nature. I think it works really well together. And then mixed with the sandstone and the lighter birchwood. It's all still a massive work in progress, but it's such a fun project. It's so fun to work on this. So right now I want to take a break from the building though, since I'm kind of out of inspiration. I'm going to wait until inspiration strikes again and then seize the moment, which has worked well so far. So I'm going to come back to doing some of the redstone and implementing the rest of the farms. So we now have the 2 nether fungus. We've got all these on the bottom row. We almost have the sea pickles. We just need to go and get some sponges. We need to do weeping vines, the twisting vines, dry grass, glow lichen, cocoa beans, kelp, and mangrove propagules. So there's actually quite a few farms left to go. I should have taken our new nether connections, but I believe somewhere over here to the south of our base, we should run across a jungle, and then inside the jungle is... Oh, it's a bit further than I thought it was. Inside... There it is. or rather underneath the jungle, should be a, what are they called, a lush cave? I believe there was some azalea trees I was farming here for rooted dirt. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, anywhere there is an azalea tree, underneath should be a lush cave. So let's see what we can find under here. And apparently I left quite a lot of rooted dirt under here. I must have had a full inventory when I was out this way, because I think this is when I was collecting sand. The desert is like just a couple hundred blocks in this direction we're facing right now. And I always forget about this rooted dirt when I'm building. I've used it a few times, like in the storage room for the new build in Penrose Botanical Gardens. But still, I always forget about this. And then also coarse dirt. Man, this really does go so far down. Oh, there's some tropical fish here. Maybe I should have... Oh, we got some iron. Maybe I can grab some of those for the aquarium. Those would be some nice additions, right? But I'm looking for that spore blossom. And then also... Oh, let's not drown here. Although I do have respiration 3, right? Yeah, I do. I'm looking for that spore blossom to put in the dome roof. And then also the hanging roots, I believe you can also get here. Wow, this is... Whoa, this is some size of a cave. Look at this. Oh my goodness. The terrain generation going crazy. Oh, and there's a deep dark here as well. I don't think I want to say hello to the warden today. We're not really prepared for that. And I still haven't gone and found netherite or farmed netherite yet. That's what we're looking for, right underneath the azalea tree. I know that these are kind of old additions to the game, but I don't know if you need shears for these. Is it shears? I do have some. Yes, awesome. The hanging roots. This will be added to our farms. Let's grab a couple just in case we lose some. But we pretty much have infinite now since we can bone meal them, and we already have a farm for them set up even before we have the item, which is kind of funny. Yeah, these are all glowberries. We have those already. And then just the spore blossom we're after, and then we are done here. Oh, and you know what? I don't have any drip leaf. I need to add this to our storage system. Filters, and to the world index, so I'm going to grab some of those as well. It's mainly the small ones, so there is the bigger variants and then the smaller ones. I don't think you can get the small ones without shears though. Like the big ones you can pick up without shears, but the small ones you do need shears to collect. Yeah. Alright, so we have some of those. Maybe I'll add them to the botanical gardens. These are kind of underrated decorative blocks as well. I don't know, maybe we'll be able to incorporate them. So much foliage, foliage. I see you. I see you, Spore Blossom. Now that I'm passing this on the way back to base, I forgot about connecting our ice biome to the Nether portal, which itself is in the opposite direction to the swamp. I think it's in that direction and the swamp is in that direction. Like an equal distance from spawn, which is over there, and it's like a few thousand blocks. So man, it's so annoying that things are so far away, but that is why we're going to have our nether hub and invest in transportation in the nether. Since I'm here though, I'm going to grab more ice because we need it for the water streams, rather than going all the way to the ice biome. We can just pillage it from this frozen peaks biome. That's what it's called. It's a little distracting, to be honest. It's a very, very saturated pink. But there's many different colors in here. Again, all of this will eventually be covered. I just need to figure out what I'm going to do over here. But it will be developed at some point. But yeah, the particle effects are pretty nice. They even make their way all the way down. It's pretty sporadic, but I think it makes a difference. Yeah, there we go. I think it makes a difference. But I also just realized that, hold on. Was it even necessary for us to go and find the hanging roots? Like, doesn't it just rely on the dispenser bone mealing the rooted dirt? I want to try it before I place the hanging roots, because I'm not actually sure as to the... Oh yeah, we didn't even need to collect these. We just need to bone meal a piece of rooted dirt. Okay. And then we just do this, and we have like infinite of them. The easiest way I found to access these is just to break the bamboo stair here. So I guess we'll add it to this one. Wait a second. I want these in order, so let's do glowberries. Oh no, we already have the glowberries, right? The glowberries should be in that one. Yeah, that one is glowberries. Leave a space for the pale hanging moss. And then in here, we will add our hanging roots. Alright guys, well with that, I think it's time we wrap up this episode. I'm really happy we got the fungus farm set up and we got our little jingle in the storage room, which it's still stuck in my head. This song, it's still stuck in my head. Let's put the dirt away. It's maybe a little obnoxious, to be honest with you. I might change it still. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit obnoxious. Maybe I'll change it for something else. Maybe we'll remove this and put it somewhere else, but you guys can let me know what you think about that. Alright guys, for now, wait, rain on head? Why we have rain on head? Oh yeah, I knocked a hole in the ceiling here just for some skylight. Yeah, all this needs a ceiling as well. Man, there is so much building to do. I'm going to keep on building between episodes. For now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode on 3 Plays Minecraft.